Many IELTS candidates struggle with writing task 1, not because they don't understand the chart, but because they don't have a clear plan for their answer. They sit down, look at the chart, and don't know where to start. They include too much detail in some places, miss important trends in others, and end up with an answer that feels disorganized. High-scoring candidates approach this task differently. They follow a simple, repeatable formula that works for any chart type. Whether they get a bar chart, a pie chart, a line graph, or a table, the core strategy remains highly effective. That consistency is exactly what helps them write a strong answer. We've helped thousands of students prepare this way through our IELTS packages. They discover how strategic preparation can help them approach the IELTS with more confidence and clarity. In this video, I'll walk you through that formula step by step. By the end, you'll know how to structure any task 1 answer and what to include in each part. Let's get into it. The first step is to understand what writing task 1 is actually asking you to do. This might sound obvious, but many candidates get it wrong simply because they misread the task. In IELTS Academic Writing Task 1, you are given a piece of visual information. Your job is to describe it. The visual can be a bar chart, a line graph, a pie chart, a table, a map, a process diagram, or sometimes 2 charts together. The task will tell you to summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features. You will also need to make comparisons where relevant. Notice what the task says: summarize, select, and compare. It does not ask for your opinion about the data. It does not ask you to explain why the trends are happening. Your job is to describe what you see in an organized, accurate, and clear way. Many candidates add their own interpretations or guess at reasons for the trends. Doing this can hurt your score. Stick to the data and describe it clearly. That is the core of the task. You need to write at least 150 words. You should also aim to finish this task efficiently. Saving time here ensures you have enough time for writing task 2, which carries more weight towards your overall writing score. Step 2 is to learn the 4 parts of the formula. These 4 parts apply broadly to the chart types you will encounter in the test. Once you know them, you have a reliable structure for your task 1 questions. The 4 parts are the introduction, the overview, body paragraph 1, and body paragraph 2. That is the basic structure. Let's look at what goes into each one. The introduction is 1 or 2 sentences where you paraphrase the task description. In other words, you rewrite the question in your own words without copying it. You describe the type of visual you've been given and what it shows. You also include the time period or context if there is one. Do not talk about the data yet. The introduction just sets the scene. The overview is one of the most important parts of the answer, and it is something many candidates either skip or write incorrectly. The overview is where you describe the most important overall trends or features without using specific numbers. Think of it as a summary of the big picture. What are the 2 or 3 most noticeable things about this data? Those are the things that go in your overview. Body paragraphs 1 and 2 are where you go into the details. This is where you support your overview with specific figures, comparisons, and descriptions. You do not need to describe every single data point. Instead, you select the most significant ones and describe them clearly. That is the core formula. Introduction, overview, body 1 and body 2. It gives you a consistent approach regardless of the chart type. Let's move on to step 3. How to write a strong introduction. Your introduction should do one thing: tell the reader what the visual shows. To do this, you paraphrase the task question. You take the description of the chart from the question and rewrite it using your own words and vocabulary. For example, the question might say, The chart below shows the percentage of households with internet access in 5 countries between 2005 and 2020. Your introduction could read, "The bar chart illustrates the proportion of households with internet access across 5 countries between 2005 and 2020. Notice what changed. Chart became bar chart and percentage became proportion. The meaning is the same, but some of the wording is different. This shows the examiner that you have a wide range of vocabulary. It also proves that you understand how to express ideas in different ways. It is also important to understand that not every word needs to be paraphrased. Some words should stay the same because there is no suitable synonym that means the same thing. Households and countries are good examples of this. If you replace households with homes, you slightly change the meaning. This is because a household refers to the people living together, not just the building itself. The examiner is not looking for you to replace every word. They want to see that you can paraphrase where it makes sense to do so. Paraphrasing words that do not need to be changed can actually make your introduction less accurate, which can hurt your task achievement score. Keep the introduction to 1 or 2 sentences. Do not include any data. Just describe what the chart is and save the data for later. Step 4 is one of the most important, writing a clear overview. The overview is what separates a well-structured answer from a weak one. This is often the area where many candidates lose marks. The overview is typically 2 to 3 sentences long. It goes directly after your introduction. In this section, you describe the most notable trends or features of the data at a general level. Do this without referring to specific numbers. You are simply giving the reader the big picture before you zoom in on the details. To write a good overview, ask yourself, what are the 2 or 3 most important things I notice about this data? For a bar chart showing spending across different categories, you might describe which category had the highest and lowest spending. You could also mention if there was a significant difference between the 2 time periods. For a line graph showing population growth, you might note that one city grew steadily while the other declined. For a process diagram, you can state how many stages the process has and what it ultimately produces. Start your overview with a clear introductory phrase. You can use words like overall, in general, or as a whole. This signals to the examiner that you are giving a summary rather than a detail. Avoid starting with "the overview shows," because that can sound a bit unnatural. Keep it simple and direct. Now, here is an important point. Many IELTS candidates think that knowing a few writing tips is enough to achieve a strong result. But it is not enough. To do well in IELTS writing, you need to understand what the examiner is looking for. For example, you need to use advanced grammar correctly and understand what makes a high-scoring answer. That's exactly what we teach in our IELTS packages. Our students get step-by-step guidance on how to give strong answers, so they feel confident and ready on test day. They learn how the IELTS examiners assess their performance and what they need to do to meet the scoring criteria. Our IELTS packages include lessons for all tasks, sample answers, practice tests, and much more. If you're serious about achieving the IELTS score you need, click the link below to learn more. Let's continue with step 5, writing the body paragraphs. This is where you go into the specific details of the data and support the overview you've already written. Your answer should have 2 body paragraphs. In each one, you describe specific data and make comparisons. The key here is to be selective. You don't need to mention every single figure in the chart. The task asks you to select and report the main features. Choosing the most significant data points and describing them clearly is much better for your score than trying to include everything. Here is an effective way to organize your body paragraphs. In body paragraph 1, focus on the most significant group, category, time period, or trend. For example, imagine you have a bar chart comparing spending in 4 countries. Body paragraph 1 might focus on the 2 countries with the highest and lowest figures. In body paragraph 2, you can describe the remaining categories or a different feature of the data. This could be a notable change over time or an unexpected pattern. As you describe the data, make sure you use specific figures. Numbers give your answer precision. They also show the examiner that you have understood the data accurately. Instead of writing spending increased, write spending increased from 15% to 27%. Instead of the 2 countries were similar, write the figures for both countries were close at 43% and 45% respectively. Also, you can use linking words and phrases to connect your sentences and create a smooth flow. Words like while, in contrast, similarly, and by comparison all help you organize comparisons clearly. These expressions demonstrate that you can use cohesive devices well. This practice feeds directly into your coherence and cohesion score. Step 6 is about applying the formula to different chart types you might see in the test. The 4-part structure covers the introduction, overview, body 1 and body 2. This framework remains consistent. What primarily changes is the kind of language you use in the body paragraphs. For data charts such as bar charts, line graphs, pie charts, and tables, you will be describing trends, proportions, and comparisons. Useful language for these charts includes verbs like increased, decreased, remained stable, fluctuated, peaked, and fell sharply. You can also use adjectives and adverbs like significant, gradual, slightly, considerably, and dramatically to describe how much something changed. For maps, you are describing changes to a location over time. Use language like a new road was constructed, the building was demolished, and the area was developed. Maps can sometimes be a surprise for candidates who have only practiced with data charts. Because of this, it is highly beneficial to spend time preparing for this type separately. For process diagrams, you describe a sequence of stages. Use the passive voice here. For example, you might write, the material is heated, the mixture is filtered, and the final product is packaged. You should also use sequencing language like first, then, following this, at this stage, subsequently, and finally. One important thing to note with process diagrams is that you rarely make comparisons. Instead, your main goal is to describe each stage in order. Understanding which kind of language fits each chart type helps ensure you feel prepared. You know the structure and you know the vocabulary. That combination is what makes the task feel manageable under test day pressure. By the way, if you want this channel to keep going, write yes in the comments, click like and subscribe. We only make videos that you actually want to watch. The next step is about vocabulary. Specifically, it focuses on your lexical resource score, which is one of the 4 areas the examiner uses to assess your answer. To score well on lexical resource, you need to show that you can use a range of vocabulary accurately and appropriately. In task 1, this means 2 things. First, vary the words you use to describe trends and data, so that you don't repeat the same verbs and adjectives throughout. Second, paraphrase key terms from the question rather than copying them directly. For describing upward movements, instead of repeatedly writing increased, try rose, went up, or surged. For downward movements, instead of repeatedly writing decreased, try fell, dropped, went down, or dipped. For no change, use remained stable, leveled off, or showed little variation. You can also use noun forms rather than relying entirely on verbs. For instance, instead of writing sales dropped sharply, you can write there was a sharp drop in sales. Alternatively, you could say sales saw a sharp decline. Mixing verb forms and noun forms is a simple way to add variety to your language. Keep in mind that the examiner will notice if you copy words and phrases directly from the task question. If the question uses the word shows, don't use shows in your introduction. Choose a different reporting verb instead. Options like illustrates, outlines, provides information about, describes, or gives data on are all natural alternatives. Using these shows the examiner that you have a broader vocabulary. Step 8 is about grammar. This covers the fourth scoring criterion, which is grammatical range and accuracy. To score well here, you need to use a range of grammar structures correctly. In Task 1, some of the highly effective grammar structures include comparatives, superlatives, and the passive voice. Use comparatives to compare data points. For example, the figure for France was higher than that for Germany. Use superlatives to describe the most extreme data points, such as Canada recorded the highest percentage, or the smallest proportion was seen in the 18 to 24 age group. Use the passive voice, especially when writing about process diagrams. A good example is, the raw material is collected and then sorted. Using complex sentence structures also helps your grammar score. Instead of writing 2 short sentences, try combining them. For example, don't write sales rose sharply in 2010. They then fell back the following year. Instead, write, although sales rose sharply in 2010, they fell back the following year. Or, having increased significantly in 2010, sales then declined over the following 12 months. These structures show that you can use a variety of grammar accurately. One thing to watch carefully is subject-verb agreement when writing about data. It is easy to make errors like, the number of students were increasing. It should actually be, the number of students was increasing. Make sure to double-check these small but important details when you review your answer. Step 9 is one that many candidates skip, and it can cost them valuable marks. Always try to leave time to check your answer before you move on to Task 2. Even a quick check can make a real difference. Look for spelling errors, missing articles, incorrect verb tenses, and subject-verb agreement mistakes. These are small errors, but they affect your grammatical range and accuracy score if they appear throughout your answer. Also, check that your overview does not contain specific numbers. It should describe general trends only. If you've written figures in your overview, move them to the body paragraphs where they belong. Additionally, check that your introduction paraphrases the task question, rather than copying it word for word. Finally, confirm that your answer has 4 clear parts. It should feature an introduction, overview, body 1 and body 2. If any part is missing or very short, it could mean you have not addressed the task fully. This can heavily affect your task achievement score. A brief review at the end of Task 1 takes very little time. However, it can help you catch mistakes that might otherwise lower your score unnecessarily. Build this habit into your practice routine so that it becomes automatic. That's it. These are 9 steps for IELTS Academic Writing Task 1. If you want expert guidance for your IELTS preparation, check out our IELTS packages using the link below. Our packages include step-by-step guidance, sample answers, practice tests, and other useful resources to help you feel confident on test day. I hope you liked this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you're notified when the next video comes out. Also, share this video with your friends so they can improve their IELTS score too. See you in the next video!